What's up, guys? Welcome to my channel. Today we got this 2003 Toyota Corolla, and the customer said the car does not start. He has to bang on the starter. So let's put up this hood. So the starter is located right down here. As you can see, he's been banging on the starter, right? You see the shiny little marks? He's been banging on the starter and it's been starting. So to change the starter, it's very simple. I am going to be going underneath the car so you guys can see, but if you want to do it from up top, you're going to have to probably fish a whole bunch of bolts, but let's give it a shot. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to disconnect the negative on this, so that way there's no power into the cables of that starter, because there's this cable right here is hot. It's live full power, and then you got the one wire connector right there. So let me take my camera down here. See that bolt right there? That one is live power. The control cable down below that is when you crank the car, it gives it the power. You could use a test light to test that. But anyways, let's take off the negative first. Once I get the pieces, I'm gonna show you the parts that I have. So the first thing we're gonna do is you're gonna use a 10mm socket. And if you have a different size terminal, just make sure whatever the size is, and make sure this thing does not come back. If it does touch this, you're gonna have power down there, and that's gonna create short if you touch that thing somewhere. But anyways, that's out. So we do have a few bolts that we need to take out. There's a bolt down here for the starter, and then there's a bolt down below. Look like a 17mm, and there's 2 bolts only to that starter. Should be a quick, easy swap. So what I'm gonna do, the first thing is I'm gonna take this. Now I have a 12mm socket with a 3/8 drive ratchet. I'm gonna take off this bracket here, so it makes it a little bit easy for us. And yep, there you go. And then there's a bolt here for that. If you need to use extension, you can. So I'm only doing this so we can have a better access and easier view, but if you don't want to do this, that's okay. So this guy comes off. And then we're gonna have to get this guy off, still tight. Gonna get my electric little drill. So here goes nothing with my electric little drill. Makes things really easy. Okay, so pay attention to the bolt. This is a throttle body bolt, so make sure you put the same bolt right back. So this is the one with the washer. It's longer, and if you take it off. But other than that, now we can probably feel back over here. What's back over here? I can't feel anything. I was going banana. So right down here, the bolt is right there. So that's, let me just get something to point at. See that bolt right there? It's a 14mm. That's the bolt we're gonna remove. So let me get my light out of there, and we're gonna fish it from right here, right from up here. Right now I got my long leverage ratchet, as you can see, so it's easier for me. It's right there on the neck of the bolt. You just need to straighten it up a little bit. And what we're gonna do is simply be careful with the harness and give us a little pull, nice little pull, and loosen the crap out of that bolt. Once it's loose, let's remove all this. Let's take this guy out of here. I should be able to just turn it by hand now. Definitely should be able to turn it by hand. There you go. So I'm gonna remove this bolt completely. You can even go down below on the harness on this end where my hand is. Yeah, going down below harness is much easier. Okay, bolt should be ready to come out. There's our starter bolt. So let's put this here. This is the starter bolt. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna close the hood. Let's grab all the tools and go underneath the car. Once you're underneath the car, if you want, you can remove this cover, but I am gonna remove this cover, so just clips. Just pull on these guys with a flathead screwdriver or Phillip head. You're gonna need a Phillip head here. Turn this, and all you want to do is take 1, 2, 3, and then you just push it to one side. And after that, you got a starter looking at you right there. There's a 17mm right there, and 1 prom cable for the control cable. Let's remove this so you can see better. So got the cover stuck to the side here, and check this out. You have so much space here. So what we're gonna do is, camera, come on, Mr. Camera. So what I'm gonna do is, first I am gonna remove the little 1 prom cable. It might be a little difficult, so all you do is push on that connector and remove this little guy. There you go, just like that. And then you got 12mm on the other bolt, whatever the size is, just take it off. Don't worry about it. There's no power in this guy right now since we took off the battery terminal. So we got our ratchet on the 12mm right there, and as you can see right there. And what I'm gonna do is, it is a little difficult to see up here, and the lighting is not the best. So what I'm gonna do is just be careful with the oil pressure switch next to the oil filter housing. Oil filter pretty much right here. And just give it a few turns. Once it's loose, you should be able to take that little guy off with your hands. Just make sure your car is not super hot. And this guy comes off. There you go. The 12mm. And then your cable should simply just come off. So both of your cables are simply off. And be careful when you put a new one in. Do not get them stuck to the other end. So we got another bolt here. I thought it was a 17mm, but it's actually a 14mm as well. So I got a little trick for that guy. Okay, so I matched up a socket 14mm with a swivel. If you want to go straight on the neck with a small extension, it's up to you, but you're not gonna have too much space and clearance. But this swivel here helps me out really good. So all I do is put this on that bolt, and I'm gonna turn it from back here with the ratchet, and the starter should just be free. So got my long leverage ratchet here, so bear with me here. Be careful with the, oops, socket just popped out. I'm holding a camera with the other hand. Just want to give everyone a good view. Okay. So let's see if I can just hold on to it at the same time. Make sure it doesn't move out of there. And it's loose. It's loose. The thing is loose. So what I'll do next is I'm gonna swap out my electric drill. Okay. So let me bang it out with my electric drill. There you go. So long bolt goes right through the transmission. And then you know what, you guys, take off this oil pressure switch before you guys. Then not the switch, it's the connector, so it'll give you a little bit extra space. And then you should be able to bring out the starter right down here. Just be careful with the pipes, lining, transmission line. So you guys got the point. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this off from right here, but I need both of my hands, and it should just come right out. There's our starter. This is where the customer was banging right there. And I did not take off the oil filter, but if you take off this oil filter, so you have a little bit extra clearance, and that's about it. So I'm waiting for the new starter, and we're gonna put everything back together. And I am gonna be changing the oil, so maybe when I put this thing back, I might not have an oil filter there, or I might have a new filter, but I'll just wait for that. Okay, so we have our starter here. Let's take off this little bolt. I'm gonna show you the part number, and it has a crush washer here, and there's the part number here. Remy, this is a brand I use. Lifetime guarantee, guys, as long as you have the starter. So this is tight, this is good. So all we need to do is push this connector in, put the bolt in. We got the 14 and a 14. Very simple job. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this starter, first, before you do anything, you do want to look at the connectors, make sure the connectors are the same, one pin, everything looks the same. And then what you want to do is you want to match up the teeth. You could count the teeth, look at the teeth, and also just put them side to side. See the distance from there to there? Should be same. Okay, if it's too long, it might hit something, but this looks good to me. It's already look good. So I did do the oil change, so you guys gonna see the new filter there. So pretty much what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wiggle this guy in there. So I might have to put the camera away for a little bit, and before I damage something, oh, I don't even need to put the camera away. Pretty much, it's in. Very simple. But like I said, I got one hand here, working with one hand. So if you're working with two hands, it should be very simple and easy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the bolt in. I'm gonna snug that bolt, and then before you tighten this bolt, you have to get the top bolt. Just snug it enough, and then you have to come back up and down once or twice. Okay, so let me get the bolt in. So it's the longer bolt here. So take this bolt, put this bolt right in there, catch all the threads you can. It's a 40-minute job, guys. That's all I'll tell you. And the labor, if you're going to mechanic, your labor shouldn't be more than 120 bucks maximum. That's the maximum. If you could find somebody to do it cheaper, that's even better. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this harness. So you see how I got the harness caught in the starter? So make sure that doesn't happen to you. So take this harness. Let me put this light away for a second right here. Let me hang my light to this angle here. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go get the bolt for this line here. So I am gonna put this line with the bolt, and I'm gonna tighten it. And then you will see once it's tight, just hand tighten it, don't go crazy, and then put the connector in. Okay, small little change. The bolt, I'll put the bolt, the nut washer, and the crush washer, and the nut on the cable, and it's a 13 millimeter. They changed the size. I only had a deep socket. It's the only one I could find. It's giving me hell of a trouble. But all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna snug in. I'm gonna make sure this is tight, but not that I ripped the starter apart. So just nice and tight, cozy tight, and take off the ratchet. Come on, guy. Hey, guy, come off. Put this boot cover on so nothing can get shorted by it. And then you're gonna take your control cable here. You're gonna take your control cable here. Make sure that clicks in really well. If it doesn't, you're gonna have a problem. And don't forget your old pressure switch on this side. You'll have a pressure light if you don't put that in. This guy is in a certain angle. Okay, this guy goes in just like that. Click, make sure it goes click. And I'm gonna fix up this wiring right there. So this is done. We need to go back up, finish up on the top. Okay, now that we're up on the top, we got the bolt for the starter here. So you simply take this bolt, put it back into the same spot. If you need to move the starter around, you can move the starter around, but it should catch thread. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna tighten this bolt completely, and the bottom one. Okay, so let me get my rest of my tools. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tighten this bolt completely. So almost on it. Okay, here goes nothing. Bada bing, bada boom. So that's done, guys. What you want to do next is, remember that bracket you took off, this little guy. So you do want to take this bolt, the longer bolt goes over here. It goes through this throttle body. Okay, let me fix up the bracket here. So this guy goes here. And that guy goes there. So you want to tighten both of these, just hand tight, nothing crazy. You do want to go down and finish up the last bolt on the starter in the bottom, tighten that one up. And the job is pretty much done. And after that, your car should start. Sometimes you'll have idle trouble, but if you drive the car around for a little bit, it should go back to normal. So tighten this and you're all done. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Okay, so what I did here is I took this test light back probe. I stuck a pin into the one pin connector on the starter. You'll see me when I do the starter. And I grounded it on this end. And check this out. When I turn this key, see that test light comes on. So it's controlling, but the starter was not kicking in. That's why he was hitting it to start it.